Welcome to this short video about the GCSE and IGCSE choices for the Remove, that's our Year 10, for September 2025. I hope you'll find everything you need in the video, but if there's anything you still need to know, please do contact either myself, Giles Hopkirk, the Director of Studies, or Mrs. Pruden Lawson, who is the head of the GCSE programme. As I said, my name is Giles Hopkirk. I'm the Director of Studies at Malvern College and I run all the academic programmes across the school. My job today is to talk you through our model for GCSEs and explain the thinking behind it, and to give you some idea about what options your sons and daughters might have as they move into this exciting part of the school. There are a range of other people on the team who it's good to know about. Mrs. Laura Shales Harding is the head of the FY, so anyone who is currently a parent of a pupil in the FY, she would be the point of contact for them. Mrs. Pruden Lawson is the head of the GCSE programme, so she runs our Year 10 and Year 11 pupils and looks after what we call the Remove and the 100 and oversees all of the GCSE programmes. And then Mr. Richard Thurlow, who is our head of higher education careers. Any questions about university entrance, any questions about which GCSEs might be suitable for particular university courses, he is an excellent person to get in contact with. Just a quick word on our most recent GCSE results. So this is our 2024 cohort, the group who left last year, or left Year 11 last year, and 62% of all of our grades in the core subjects there were between 9 and 7. So in the old system, that was the old A star to A measure. So a very, very high percentage of our grades right at the top end, with 73% of pupils getting between grades 9 and 6, 9 being the highest, and that equates to the old A star to B measure. But I think the real story with our GCSE results is the value added scores. So if you can see the pink cross there on the extreme left hand side of the graph, that's Malvern's position in terms of value added compared to all the other schools. And you can see we're right at the top end of the ranking. We're adding considerably more than half a grade of value compared to what their predicted grades would have been. So that's pointing to both excellent teaching, but also the range of extension enrichment activities outside the classroom that our pupils can access, and that really helps to take their grades up that upper level when compared to other schools. And if we look at our results a little bit higher up the school, this is our leavers from the sixth form last year. Now we have a slight complication with our results in the sixth form because we run both A-level and IB streams, so it's difficult to have an overall measure of our success in the sixth form. So what we do is we combine the results in A-level and IB, and we find the equivalent in terms of UCAS points. So in the top right hand corner of the screen there, you can see the average UCAS points that our pupils left with last year was 147, and that's the equivalent of 3 A's at A-level. So it'll give you some idea, some sense of how successful our pupils are in the sixth form. And in the middle of the screen there, you can see that 25% of all of our IB candidates, for example, gained more than 40 points. And 40 points really is the benchmark for world-class performance in the IB. Now I just want to talk a little bit about our GCSE programme, which we base around a model of 8+1. So that 8 is a core of 8 GCSEs, with pupils then making one additional choice to develop their own pathway through the programme. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about why, the justification, if you like, for our 8+1 formula. And this is all about quality, not quantity. We've done a lot of work talking to the universities about what they're looking for. And what they consistently tell us is about the best 8 GCSE grades. So what we want to focus on with our GCSE programme is ensuring that all of our pupils get the best 8 GCSE grades they can. Now on top of that, they can add other options, so they can do other GCSE courses, or they can do other non-examined courses. But what we're focusing on really importantly is this core of 8 GCSEs. Now Mrs. Pruden Lawson later in the video will talk about the idea of pathways, that it's the 8+1 model allows us to have the flexibility for pupils to choose different pathways through the GCSEs. But the philosophy of this is based around that core of 8 good GCSEs, which then allow pupils the opportunity to explore other areas of interest through CCAs, through the super curriculum, and through our enrichment programme. One of the keys to our fantastic value-added scores is that the learning doesn't just stop at the classroom door. There are huge opportunities for all of our pupils to extend their knowledge and understanding and skills outside the classroom through our CCA programme, through the super curriculum, and through our enrichment programme, more of which later.
Hello, I'm Richard Thurlow. I'm Head of Higher Education and Careers here at Malvern College, and I'm just going to give you some points on how choice of GCSEs can affect applications to universities and eventually choice of careers. Here we can see an overview of the destinations of the upper sixth form that left last summer in 2024. You can see that we have a very good strike rate with helping the girls and boys get to their chosen universities, 80% getting to their first and second choice universities, both within the UK and across the rest of the world. And we're very proud of the fact that there's a wide range of universities there. We have, as you can see, a very good number going to the top universities in the UK, including Oxford and Cambridge and Durham and King's College London, University College London, etc. But also other very high performing universities in the States and in Italy and Spain, CONI and IE Madrid becoming increasingly more popular as top business schools. But we don't just tell the girls and boys that they must go to university, and we're very proud of the 5% you can see down near me, the bottom right hand corner of the slide. 5% of the year group have gone down other paths. One in drama school, fewer than 3 to flight school, 1 into the armed services, 3 taking up apprenticeships, including at the famous Morgan Motor Factory, and a couple involved in sport. One of the boys has signed up a gig contract at Somerset. And here we can see the range of subjects which the pupils gained places at in their chosen UK universities, and it really is a very broad spread. Yes, a lot of them, just over 24%, applied for human sciences like business management and economics, but as you can see, there are many other different subjects and subject areas that the pupils applied to. So what do pupils need to apply to universities, be they in the UK or across the rest of the world? Well, as you can see here, 5 to 8 GCSEs, including, crucially, pass grades in English language and maths. I'll talk a bit more about business and economics degrees shortly. Also, 3 A-levels, or the IB diploma, with its 3 higher levels, or more and more universities are thinking about a mixture of these and other qualifications like BTECs. Pupils will also need to write a personal statement, and there's always a reference from the school as well. Here is advice from the universities themselves about which subjects would be good to choose as optional subjects at GCSE level. They make some very sensible points here. I think the first one is important. Choose them because you'll be good at them and because you will be interested in them. and not, as in point 3, just because your friends are doing it too. There used to be talk in the press about universities looking at subjects as if they were hard or soft, but it's not really how they do that. The top universities talk about having facilitating subjects. And here are some of these facilitating subjects: maths, the sciences, ancient and modern languages, history, geography, and English literature. The next few slides show which GCSEs are particularly useful for specific university degree courses. I was talking about maths earlier. You can see that for business and management, GCE maths at least grade 6 is required for almost every university business and management course. So well worth noting that. And for economics, that's increasingly a mathsy subject, very often, as well as an A-level in maths or IB higher in maths. Universities would expect the girls and boys to have GCSE maths at least grade 7. I think most of the information here is pretty obvious, but it's just worth drawing your attention to law here. It doesn't really matter which optional GCSE subjects you choose for law. It's great if you've got languages, because that's helping you with your communication skill. English, also important, again because of communication, but also allowing you the chance to analyse, evaluate, and the same goes, of course, for subjects like history and RS. And as for which GCSEs are needed for which careers, well, you've guessed it. English language, pass grade. Maths, pass grade 4-5. Absolutely crucial. And then, again, this is probably obvious, but for engineering, you'd need strong maths and physics at GCSE level. Anything involving finance will need good maths, and medicine, notice that chemistry is just as important, if not more so, than biology. And on my final slide, you can see an overview of the careers guidance, which we impart to the girls and boys during their time with us. Your sons and daughters have just recently taken a My Future Choice Careers questionnaire, and they've discussed the results of it with their tutor and their tutor group, and they've thought a little bit about which GCSEs might fit in best with these possible career ideas. We follow up in the remove by researching job families and drafting CVs, and in the 100 we focus again on careers quite intensively with a profiling questionnaire and, crucially, a follow-up interview one-on-one between the pupil and professional independent careers advisors to discuss not just which careers might suit best, but also which courses at university and which maybe apprenticeships would suit. And before that, of course, which subjects in the sixth form, be they the A-level course of study or the IB diploma programme or BTECs, and how that might fit into higher and further education and careers. In the lower sixth, we start the whole process of applying to universities, both the UK and across the world, and there's lots on research and getting the personal statement drafted. We have a university open day and fair when universities come to Malvern to tell the students more about how the application process works. We also have, coming back to careers, a very popular Careers and Futures evening at which former pupils, old Malvernians, come back and speak to current pupils about their careers in, for instance, engineering, medicine, law, investment banking, advertising, and journalism. All range, about half a dozen of them coming back, I think getting on extremely well with current pupils who are delighted to hear from people just 10 or 15 or 20 years older than themselves. They look at them and think, maybe I can do that too. And then in the upper sixth, we finish off the application process, but we also make sure that the girls and boys are ready for applying for jobs and internships and that sort of thing. So we practice with them one-on-one in-person interviews, but also the difficult skill of speaking to a pre-recorded interviewer. So they have this practice of online interviewing, which is used by so many companies these days. So all the way through their time at Malvern, my team in careers and higher education are very keen to help the girls and boys to realise their potential.
Hello, my name is Lauren Pruden-Lawson. I'm the head of GCSE here at Malvern College, and this GCSE programme today is to help you understand how to support your son or daughter in making the correct GCSE choices for them. So, our approach at Malvern College is very much about enabling your child to really thrive, enabling them to love learning throughout their whole life, not just when they are here at Malvern. We want to push your children out of their comfort zone sometimes, and we will track them carefully to ensure that they are making the right choices throughout their course here. At Malvern, we've got these 4 key focuses. I want to make sure that your children are happy, first and foremost, because if they're happy and they have a positive well-being, they will achieve their best academically. Also, along with the well-being, if they are happy, that will enable them to develop a healthy emotional intelligence and a strong cultural intelligence too, which is really, really important as they move out of Malvern into universities throughout the world and into the job sector later on. When talking to your child about the GCSE choices, it's really important to remember whose choices they are. They will be the ones taking the exams at the end of their 100. In 2 years' time, they will be the ones sitting in big school, having had all of that time to revise, having had all the excellent teaching. However, we have encouraged them to talk to a range of people. We have told them they need to talk to you, and please can you have these conversations with your children as well. We've encouraged them to talk to their teachers, to their tutors, to the heads of department. We've also encouraged them to think about their future a little bit, to think about whether they want to go to university, which subjects they really love. We've also encouraged them to think about their personal strengths. Are they really sporty? So is PE a really sensible choice? Do they want to aim for some top universities? Therefore, would Latin be a good choice, or Greek, to enable them to stand out above the crowd against a very competitive cohort? However, there are many things that they need to take into account, and conversations with you are absolutely vital. So, a few reasons why somebody should choose a particular subject. Firstly, we'd hope that they're interested in it, because if they're interested, they're more likely to actually spend a little bit of time outside of the classroom doing some work, doing preparatory work and consolidation work to boost their academic grades. We'd like them to choose subjects that they also feel that they're good at. And we want them to choose a breadth of subjects to enable them to either select A-levels or IB and have a range of different degrees available to them if they want to go to university later on in their careers. There are some reasons that your child should not choose a particular subject. They shouldn't choose it because their favourite teacher currently teaches them this year. They shouldn't choose it because their best friend is going to do it as well. And they shouldn't choose it purely because you, their parents, have told them that they have to. So please listen to what your child would like. However, they are only young, so they do need advice, not to keep it too narrow, but to maintain the breadth, to maximise their chances of success for university, for jobs, for A-levels, for IB. So the aim of the Malvern model is to improve personalised learning. We want to make sure that pupils have the right pathway for them, so they become subject experts, they love the learning, and we enhance their own personal development. These are the core subjects that we have available to your child for GCSEs. As you can see, there's a wide range, and as said before, we encourage children to take a breadth of subjects to maximise their learning, to maximise their potential later on in life. Along with most schools in the UK, English and maths are compulsory. We also have science as a compulsory option within the GCSE pathway here at Malvern. Pupils that need additional EAL support, where they are not English as native speakers, they will require additional English language lessons, and this will take away one of their GCSE options. However, we feel these lessons are hugely beneficial because they enable pupils to access the curriculum and improve the grades in the subjects they do take. So, the Malvern pathways. We've got our traditional academic route, where pupils will take 9 GCSEs. We then have an enrichment, extension and support route. Within the extension and enrichment pathway, you can see there are additional subjects on top of the 9 GCSEs. PPE is politics, philosophy and economics, and this is a hugely popular university course. And we feel the skills that they learn here, taught by sixth form teachers, are hugely beneficial to develop their own personal pathway. AGTM and WMCP are based in the DT department. One is more arts focused, so arts, graphics, textiles. The other one is more making things, so woodwork, metal, clay, and that kind of thing. However, these can be taken alongside their art GCSE or their textiles GCSE. It can also be taken instead of a GCSE, and it is simply a pathway that somebody would like to go down. They are non-examined. We then have the support pathway. This includes EAL, which can be embedded into the timetable, as well as additional EAL for those that need that extra little bit of support. We also offer supervised study, additional math support, and additional English support. So they would come out with 8 GCSEs plus additional English, additional maths, or supervised study, depending on what is most suitable for your child. This slide shows you an example of options that your son or daughter could take. As you can see, maths, English, and separate science or double award science are compulsory, along with life skills, PSHE. There are then 4 option blocks. If your son or daughter would like to select separate science, they choose it in either option 1 or 2, which means they have 3 additional choices for their remaining 8 or 9 GCSEs. This is an example. So, your son or daughter has chosen double English, that is English literature and English language, maths and double science. With double science, they still are taught biology, chemistry and physics by 3 subject specialists. However, they only take 1 exam at the end for each of their subjects and come out with 2 science GCSEs rather than 3 individual GCSEs, which are science, biology, chemistry and physics. Additional GCSEs, mainly languages, as you can see, are available outside of the school timetable, as well as further maths. So some children will be doing 10 or potentially 11 GCSEs. I've explained the science a little bit already, but here's a little bit more information that you can then revisit if you need more information, as well as using the PDF, which has lots of detail about whether your son or daughter should choose separate science or double award. So we do have to tell you a little bit of important information. If your son or daughter would like to study in Germany, separate science is the only science option they should choose, because the dual award isn't recognised as a qualification in Germany. Most pupils will be studying both English literature and English language at GCSE. However, for some pupils, they might opt for purely English language and then get extra either English support or extra EAL support. And that is done in conjunction with myself, the head of English, learning support, and the head of EAL. We've got a timeline here. As you can see, one of the dates has already passed, but the next dates are for your children to put in their GCSE options. Some have already done so, which is great. If your son or daughter hasn't, please have a conversation with them. They have a forms link and they can fill in all the information there. There are drop-in times that they can come and speak to me in school if they have any questions, and I am also available to you if you have any questions that you need to ask. I'm really passionate about making sure that your son or daughter makes the right choices straight away. Having the breadth is really, really important. Encouraging them to do subjects that they enjoy is really important, as well as the subjects they are good at. So they need to talk to all of these people if they are unsure. A little bit of advice just at the end from some universities. I won't spend too long on this. You can pause it and have a read, okay? However, I will spend a little bit of time on this. There's a slightly older thought of soft versus hard subjects. This doesn't really exist anymore, and a lot of big corporate companies are looking out for people that have done art and music and French or Spanish, just as they are looking out for people who've done maths and further maths, the sciences, and that kind of thing. However, if your son or daughter is really looking to aim high from a university perspective and stand out above the crowd, the rare smaller subjects like Latin and Greek really do help them stand out above the crowd to get them into the university that they want to go to. I hope you found this video useful and informative. As I said, if you have any questions, please do contact me or your son or daughter's tutor. They have a raft of information that can be helpful. The PDF that has also been sent out has links to the GCSE syllabus pages, so you can look in detail as to what is expected for example, PE, GCSE, or textiles. So please do spend the time to look through that. Once again, I hope to see you all soon. I very much look forward to spending more time with you when your son and daughters move into the remove next year. Thank you very much.